Hello and welcome to our Minecraft Hardcore World. I'm Doom Mountain and this is episode 19 from our world. Now guys, I know that, it's becoming a bit of a habit here where there's a little bit of a stretch between episodes, and I appreciate every single one of you guys that keep coming back. But this time I had a good reason for it. You all know how much I'm slowly losing my mind to building up all these roofs with kelp blocks, and if you're new to the series, hey there, I'm losing my mind to having to put up all these kelp blocks for the roofs, which was a decision that at the start of this village I really liked, but now I'm a bit over it because it's a process to get it all. But with that said, I've spent the last 3 weeks collecting enough kelp blocks to be able to finish off all of the houses around here that actually need it. Now, as I was sort of saying last episode, I believe I was anyway, that for the Grand Library, which is the whole purpose of this, village, it's the lore keep of the world and everything that happens here, all of our pets which we've lost along the way, and any adventures that we do eventually take on, will be stored in this world, in the Grand Library, which is going to be up on top of that hill over there. And it does not have a kelp roof. Thank God it doesn't. But there was 2 other houses that still needed it, and I've built them off camera, as well as a little bit of a garden area, which you might be able to see peeking up above my, I want to say, left shoulder. But what I thought today we would do is now that we are up to this stage, the only thing left to build is our Grand Library, and we are going to start that today. However, though, what I wanted to do was just a little recap of our village that we've been working on so far, because, it has been a bit of a while since we've actually built all of these buildings together, and I thought it'd be really nice just to spend the first half of this episode just going through from start to finish of this village, which, you know what? It's a little bit of a lazy name, but I think it's a good name. I want to call this village Ud. Hang on, do I have it right? Ud Ook. So, OOD, OOK, yes, which is pretty much good book, but you're just taking off the G from good and the B from book, because, this is a whole library sort of. Guys, it was as creative as I could be while I was trying to work with kelp. My mind is gone, but you know what, I'm sticking with it, and so that's going to be the name of our village. But I thought, let's go through and do a little bit of a tour from here, and when we finish up the tour, we'll be in those new areas which I've been working on, and I think, it'll really nicely wrap us up into the grand build of this library. So guys, I'm just going to quickly sleep away the night, and then let's begin our tour. Alright, now that it is the next morning, let's take this sort of grand tour of the almost completed Ud Ook village, the grand lore keepers of the hardcore world. Now, I say almost complete because we still have not yet done any interiors, and as you can see, we still need to get a few lanterns around the place, but I'm slowly getting all of that completed. So, as we enter our village from the west, I believe that is, we come on through, no wait, that's east, pretty sure it's east, damn it. Alright, let's just, we're starting it off again here now, Alright, so as we enter into our village, we have what is going to be our sort of office area where we check in for anyone that's coming in. So it's where you come in, sign in, say you're entering into the village, you're either, declaring your work, or you're being detained here in a future to come sort of prison cell, where anyone that might be having unwilled intentions that might try and drift into the village, pillagers, I'm looking at you guys, you try coming in here, we're going to have a big cell for you to sort of keep away. Get out of here, donkey. Going to keep them stored up here, and then a bit of the paperwork and office area, as well as a lovely upstairs where we might put in a few rooms or anything for the officers and the guards to sort of live at, but has really nice views of our docks. So let's head down there now and check out the dock area. So once we leave the official guard sign-in house place thingy, we make our way down to this little nice docked area with a little pond beside it, as well as our Grandmaster fisherman's and sort of fish supplying person lives over here. and a lovely sort of 2-story house, which we've spoken about, how his generosity of allowing people to use this area to be able to fix up any boats if need be, as well as a little bit of a potato crop growing here so that we can have some fish and chips. You've got to have some fresh fish and chips, as well as allowing access to using this as a sort of an open space to store general goods for repairing boats. But we've established that this will be his private quarters, which he'll have a lovely lookout over all of the dock, over pretty much the main entrance of Uduk, and looking out along the river so he can see any incoming ships that might need aid as they sort of, really close up in the face there, any sort of aid as they sort of, drift in to sell any goods to the people. Alright, leaving the fisherman's master dock house area thing, we come up to our open dock work where you can see we've got all of the supplied cargo stored in. We've got lovely sort of shelving area, little bits of seating so people can just sort of sit down and just sort of relax, have a little look out over the ocean and, see what ships are coming in, why not? It just adds to the little bit of the story and a bit of the feel around here. As well as our guard cat, which I don't think has a name yet. But, there's still time to name that if anyone wants to name our guard cat down here on the docks. We also have a lovely little bit of a fish aquarium, which, I thought was just... I don't know, I thought it'd look really cool in the hillside, and you know what? I'm not wrong. I do like how it looks. But as we come along down here, we have where our quarantine section of the village is, so anything that's coming off of the shipping goods from faraway villages need to have some time separated to make sure there's no bugs or anything that might come in and affect our lovely village. We just store them off in here, and we can sign in with the cargo as it's in here. As you can see, we don't have too many goods at the moment as, we don't have too many villages around the world yet that's sort of trading goods. But it does lead us up here it does lead us up here nicely to a little bit of a lift system, which I was really proud of how this came up, and I just love how it looks. If we make our way up to the top, you can see where that area is. It's kind of near that building that had the really weird roof that I didn't quite like, but I've just got to keep. Yeah, let's head over there now. Alright, so when we make our way back up the path and venture on past our sort of official building, office, headquarter thingy there, we make our way to where the all cleared zone from where any goods have been quarantined. We've got over here our logbook, which should match up with the book down there, so we know what items they're in and under there, who they're under to be taken out by and that sort of stuff. And it's a good system if it works. It's based a lot on the Honest sort of system there. But we've got some extra storage for when items come up and are all cleared to go, and this leads up to where our little lift system is, which, again, I was just really, really happy with how this came up. I think it looked really cool. But if we finally move on through, we can start entering into the village, full of all of these custom trees, making great use of the dripstone block as sort of the wood of the tree. And I think it just gives a nice texture, especially with these luscious green leaves. Sorry, had a bit of a hiccup there. Let me fix that up. I like how the contrast between sort of the greys and the sort of a bit more of a pinkier, red yet sort of very lightish brown tones match up with the green leaves in here. And, we've got in the flowering azalea, as well as introducing some of the mangrove leaves where we can bone meal them and get like little fruits growing off of them to really add to the sort of just the detail of the trees. And we've got a few of those plotted all along the way of the path and everything as we make our way up to our first set of stairwell. Now, as you can see, I've tried not to keep too much dead space. Everything gets back in with a bit of nature, the campfire thrown in, some trees, a few bushes. We've even got bees that sort of just roam around, as well as noble steeds. Now, we've come up to the first little turn off with our lovely it's supposed to be kind of like a church. It's the cleric's place, Chris's house, which, it seems like it's been forever since we've been down here. But as you can see, this is one of the very few houses which actually has the interior done. However, though, after all that was done, I was left with the question of, crap, this is supposed to be Chris's house. Where does Chris sleep? Well, we haven't quite yet worked out where to put his bed, and I think it might just go in behind here in a little secret quarters. But let's just go off and collect up some of our much needed, nether wart. Now, I do need to go back into the nether to actually, acquire more soul sand. However, though, playing on bedrock has a lot of disadvantages, and our nether is incredibly buggy. So by that I mean you walk and then all of a sudden it slingshots you back, and I don't want to fall in lava over there, so I haven't been back for quite some time. But it is on the to-do list of, collect up a bit more. But for now, we just sort of survive that little small pocket of it over there, and we can brew up any of our potions just in this house as we need be. Alright, let's move on to the next location, which I believe is a little bit further up the pathway now. Alright, so let's make our way back up these stairs, and continuing on, we do come up to where, at the time, I really wanted to sort of smooth these stairwells off, but I did get a little bit distracted while detailing the area over here. And, it seems as it's been so long, and as you can see, the moss is actually, the vines are growing in on it, I kind of just like how it looks, and it's really become just a really nice feature of the entrance up from, well, really Spawn is over there, so we've got to go back and work over on Spawn, but yeah, it's the entrance into this village. Now, we can either go up this path and into the heart of the village, or we can go off and check out our little enchanting hut. Because, every village, especially one with library and a lot of lore, needs to be able to access some form of enchantments. So, if we head on up here, you can see, again, another one of the few that has a little bit of decoration. I mean, it's a small spot, so we kind of made do with what we had. But it is one of the very few houses that are decorated. We've even got a little bit of a waiting room chair here, because, as we said, it is such a small space that if a few people want to enchant, we might need to line up and sort of form a nice orderly fashion. Alright, let's step on up and start entering into the heart of the village, which, as you can see, still has two very important dirt walls, one for gathering vines and one for holding our map. But and as you can see, look, we've still got some stuff to do. Let me talk about this house behind me first, which is just a lovely sort of, it was just a place filler, and it does it perfectly until nightfall, where I still need to add a bit of string to some of the roofs, or all of the roofs, and every now and then it will spawn a creeper, and we'll have a creeper just sitting up the top waiting for me to walk past so I can just jump down. Those aren't too fun times, but other than that, it does fill in the spot really nicely. And again, another house that is in need of, a bed and a little bit more filling out. Now, this section here with the really weird and awkward L-shaped terrain and then the pen of villages is where we are keeping our current villages that have, these are the actual original villages of the world, or this village. And I've kept them safe in this pen, and the idea is that once I've finished up here and I've really spawn proofed it, so we're not going to get any mobs or anything hostile like that spawning around, I'm going to let them be free range. So they're just going to go around living into these houses, and yeah, but until that stage I can't really terraform this section here, so for now we just sort of got to make do with it looking a little bit uglier. Now, as I said, over here we have our vine wall, but we've also got our map wall over here, which, gives you a really nice idea of the size of this village. Now, we're standing here, we've been over to our dockmaster's house, our entrance security house, the docks, over here to where our quarantine cleared zone is. This house over here was our enchanted one, and then obviously this one here is this lovely house over here. So I'm going to quickly sleep, and then in the morning, oh, sorry, that's also Chris's house, put that back. So that was where we've also been. And in the morning, we'll head on down here. But yeah, let me just quickly sleep. Are you out? No, you scared me. I thought we were missing a bit. Let's sleep before anything happens. Alright, so I've slept away the night now, and we've managed to not lose any villagers, which is always a plus, always a plus. Now, as you can see here, we have arrived at our first sort of major crossroads, and, well, we've got, three options. We can go this way here to go straight on through over to our homestead of Rabbitton, or we can go up here to where our library is going to be, a little sneak peek of some of the new things that we've built. Or we can head on down here to where we've got our tavern, our farmhouse, and a nice lovely treat area. For the sake of our tour, I'm going to choose to go down this path because we can do a very nice loop around the village. So, as you can see as we go down here, we've got a nice little stairwell that leads us over to a fresh watered well. The cow was just admiring the fact that he can't get in there, and it's also designed so that villagers shouldn't be able to. I think their head is just, so they shouldn't be able to get in here. That was the whole plan of it, because I didn't want any villagers, just leaving here and then coming back and it's just full of them. So, that works very nicely. I do have some worries about giving them terraces, but, they should be able to look over the balcony, not any problem, I hope. Well, let's head on into here, which was going to be the inn. So a nice little part where we could maybe have a big table over here with some food served, a bit of an office in-keep here. We could check in to get a room. All the rooms are going to be shared, but you'll see that in a minute. And yeah, just a little bit of storage down here, as well as a lovely... Hello, Beat. Do you want to go out through the door? As well as a lovely little just sort of grassed area where you can come out and walk, and you can see that we do collect natural honey. You can actually harvest this honey. I've made sure that I can't make that mistake over here. So back in the house, and then if we head on up again, you can see that none of these are really decorated at all. They've got some of the splitting. Oh, that's right. I remember I tried to put a bit of a skylight in here, and wasn't my finest hour, but we have it, and I'm not getting rid of it. And yeah, we can see here that the bedding situation is planned out to be a bit of a shared bunk bed setup with the little bit of the walkout terrace. Is it terrace? Oh, it's not. You can walkout balcony lookout thingy. Yeah, words. Wow, that looks a bit plain. I should put some vines up there. Anyway, you can see we've got a lovely view out here of the ocean, the docks, Master's house, and looking back up towards, ultimately, the Grand Library. Again, we have another nice little view over the farmhouse outside the window here, so that when people do wake up and come out their door, they can see the lovely sort of nestle and bustle of the sort of village as it's going on outside the window. Again here too, it's really good, got those nice elevated sort of levels, which I really enjoy about some of these houses. Alright, let's continue on up. Heading back on the path, we start to wrap around our very open crop field, and this was pretty much the foundation of all the food that I was using to trade with them, so I could get a bit of emeralds and that going as the whole build process, because being free ranged here, I didn't want to, zombify them and then cure them and get the discounts, so these guys charge me an arm and a leg for anything I want from them, so, it's honest work around here. And as you can see, we've got the carts to be able to pull all of the crops in as we harvest. Again, another lovely tree. A bit of wheat that we've ground up from our hay to be able to make some bread. A little bit of a campfire in case we want to rest during the evening, after the hard work of, being out here harvesting all the carrots and potatoes. We've got the pumpkins and melons. Up there, I really love how it's like elevated sort of potatoes, carrots, wheat. That is a purely decorated sort of field. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't ever harvest that. I just like the way it looks. We come over here to our farmhouse. We've got some sheep because, as you can see over here, we've got bits of brown carpet nestled in with the ground to sort of give it a bit more of like the dirt's been rustled as people have walked over it, kicked up a bit, trampled as the carts have run through, and we needed some brown sheep to be able to collect up the wool. Again, this is an area that's I touched on it a little bit, mainly because I need to store the wool and some other crops around and about, so this little glitch there with the camera. This does also need a little bit more work, but I mean, which house in this village doesn't at the moment? But again, I like how it looks. It's got that sort of brickwork here with the oak. It's sort of, it just looks really nice. I'm happy with how it fits in. Now, as we come around the corner, we come up to my favourite little relaxing spot in this whole village. We've got a nice tree in the middle, calming little pond running down from our calming little waterfall running down from the pond up the top there. We used to have a lot of frogs around here. At the moment, they're sort of all based themselves up around there, and we've got one or two over here. But yeah, it's just a really nice little spot. We've got a picnic table over here. It looks really nice. I love this spot. It's just very relaxing. It's very enjoyable scenery around here. And it obviously sort of shows us that this area here is sort of where the wildness kicks back in, and the village isn't really, it's not really its claim anymore. Like, people can go there, but it's not really like you're going to be protected like the rest of this village will be. It does lead us up, though, to wrap it around to where our first sort of build around here, Mark's place, which is our archer and our very first villager friend from this village when it was in its early days. And I cannot believe that I have not come around and put lanterns in this spot. This thing has been bugged for ages. Why haven't I done that yet? Oh well, I'll fix it up later. But as you can see here, it leads us up the path, which wraps us back around to Mark's house and then into where we first sort of started up. The path over there leads us all the way back home. We're not going there today, but before we do detour up there, I would love to take us up to a little bit of a side project, and it was purely because I really enjoyed the little banter and that I had with Mark as I was going insane, destroying the village and rebuilding the village, and he was my only true friend that could sort of at me the right way. So I made up a whole little backstory about Mark and how he was an ex-archer for a grand army, and he's come back here now just to retire, and he teaches the ways of, you know, his finer art form of archery, as he calls it. And he has himself his house here, which leads on into a beautiful archery course where, you know, we go through to the nice walkway carved into the mountainside and leading us up gracefully to his archery course. Out here you can see that we have his lovely sort of train. We've got a bit of a camp set up here so you can stay out here for a while, you know, you cook up your food if need be. We've got some supplies up here, as well as a bit of an archery course. Now, a few of these are triggerable, if I get my words right. So for example, as you see, if I hit this, it opens up some trap doors, so we've got a few different areas where we can really practice our archery. Oh, I missed. There we go, see, shots over there, you know, and I do need this training quite often. If you guys actually watch my videos, you're probably thinking, he has an archery training area and he still shoots like that? Yes, I'm sorry. Probably shouldn't shoot a bee either, so I'm not going to shoot any more. But yeah, we've got this lovely area over here which looks out to the nice frozen tops of the mountain. You can see just the peaks over there leading off into our area. And then a great view of where this library is going to stand. But yeah, that's, you know, Mark's area of the village, which I really enjoy. And I look forward to writing his story into the library archives. Alright, so I did sort of graze over Mark's actual house, and these are some of the first builds that I did in this area. And I sort of had a bit of a design which sort of has changed over the time. Not mainly the inciting space, like I really like how this is as like a designed house build, but you know, when it sort of came a bit more to needs of, like, you know, the fisherman's area, or we will come up to a stable, that sort of stuff, the design does change a little bit to fit those needs. But these houses, which I initially thought them to be more of the housing areas of the villages, have this sort of very simple look, and as you can see, some of them aren't quite finished. You'll mainly see it over on this one here, like the fences just don't quite go up to the top because I didn't quite finish the design. But I'm not going to make excuses. These are really nice areas in which I think when we go through and do the final details, this is just going to pop, especially when we continue on this path over there. But let's go on through. So we've got little tables and everywhere, sort of little benches so people could just sit down and have a meal as they're talking their way through. We have another workstation over here so that we can work with a bit more of the sugar cane. We've also got some kelp down there because just kelp was needed. So much kelp was needed that I had to grow it everywhere. It was just, wow. I'm glad it's over. Please don't ask me to build with it again. But we have this area over here which is sort of off the peak of a house which I didn't really have any villagers in mind for it. It was just a nice little house which was opposite our grand stable, which you guys would probably be thinking, wow, look at the way that he's built up the detail there. There's got to be something cool in there. I'll show you. I'll show you the cool thing that I've got hidden up there, but it'll be in a minute. For now, let's go through and show our actual stable. Now, this one here was usually reserved for Dot, who is our beloved horse, which takes us everywhere. Unfortunately, though, I actually left him at home, and I walked here because I was too excited to be able to start recording again. So Dot is not here at the moment, he's back at the homestead. Opposite Dot though, we have Queen Bella, which was a cow which we had found from the original village, actually hidden under the ground when I was excavating this place on a live stream. And you know, the two viewers at the time, shout out to them, they're much love for the support, decided to name this cow Queen Bella. I cannot actually remember the full name. It was Queen something, and then it was Bella something, and I couldn't decide whose name to pick, so I took Queen and I took Bella. And we have the almighty Queen Bella. Usually I'm supposed to offer her a golden carrot. Yes, I'm saying that, but I'm poor at the moment. I don't have golden carrots, so I can't offer her that right now. If we go on a bit further down, you can see here that we have the original lovely Mrs. Cow, who fell madly in love with Dot, and yes, we just had to keep them together, and I really haven't separated them. I just leave them there. They enjoy each other's company. It was back in the earlier days when, you know, the village really didn't have any sort of setup, so Dot and this cow was just living in a pen, was no much bigger than this, so they became real good friends, and I thought I'd spare it and let it stay here. Now, over here is where I would like to put my mule, which is, you know, the crossbreed between a donkey and a mule. However, though, I wanted to have a donkey over there pulling a cart, and I had a spare horse over here for looks, so until I actually breed the two together... Oh, wait, no. Huh. I completely forgot that I do have a mule. Do you remember when we were back down there by the map, and there was that horsey thing running around us, trying to get any attention from me and let me know that it was there, to try and get my love from it? Yeah, that one, the one that I completely forgot about. That's his spot. Wow, I am so bad. I will give you a name. Alright, and then if we wrap around here, we've got this really cool stairwell, which it took me ages to work out the proper way to get it spiral up. I was so excited for it to lead up to nothing. Too close up. That's right, nothing. I just wanted this. And like, seriously guys, that's all I wanted was this pen. But it looked boring when I put an arch roof on it. So I just built another layer. And honestly, I think that should just be a lesson. Sometimes if you just want to build it, just build it. It doesn't need to function. This is one of my favorite builds around it, and it has absolutely no function except really to hold my one horse. And I love it. These are just little novelty builds that you can build up in a world, and they're just great. So yeah, that's the big secret, is this is just for show. Over here though is our nether portal, which I am terrified of using, because last time I used it, the world crashed and I got sent back to world spawn, and I didn't want to have that happen again. So yeah, let's let the nether rest for today. Alright, as it starts to get... Oh, that's my bum. Alright, as it starts to get darker again, and you can see the nice glow from the ice cave's mouth there from the mountain, and oh, let me tell you guys, I've got a bit of a story brewing up in the back of my mind for that, and you're going to enjoy it. So hopefully when we finish up this area, we can start working on a few other projects and actually take on the dragon. Yeah, do all that sort of stuff. I can really build that up there. But before we go any further, let me quickly sleep away the night, because this is a village with villagers and I don't want them to die. So I'll be right back. This guy, it's his house. Yeah. Alright, now that it's back to being daytime again, let's go through. So, this is the entrance we're going to take up, but just so you've got an idea of where we are, this is the pathway that sort of leads us all the way back down to where our village entrance was over there where we came up. And this has a really nice view of just the layered crops. I really like how this looks. It'd be better if there was something over on that mountain, I think, but that's not my area. I don't need to kill myself over getting something built there. This is, and it looks really nice. But if we continue on up here to this path, we come across our stone masons, the mason triplets area. Now this is where they live, this is where they mine, and this is where all of our goodies are sort of stored. As you can see, this is a room where I actually did take a bit of time and a bit of pride in putting in quite a few sort of gems around the place, building up the area. Their bedroom I did forget, and I also think I mentioned that I forgot to make sure that this was actually ventable, you know, allowing oxygen to actually come in so they don't die and suffocate in their sleep. So I think the idea is that they don't get a door on their bedroom so that they don't suffocate. Design flaw, I know, but it's what I'm going to have to do. Keep them safe. Safety first. But if we continue on down here, we've got our nice little minecart, which if I push it all the way back there, it should trigger, which we can, you know, just as a little decorative thing, goes on down to its section. Got to have that powered, and it should now bounce back up. Yeah, and it comes back and rests in place. And we just use that as sort of, we might send off some stuff, or if we're down here in our little storage area, which I have, you guys would be proud of me. I've been moving some stuff instead of just leaving chests everywhere. I'm putting some storage away, trying to do the right thing. And then we have all of this stuff there. Yep, just now breeze off of that. We have our little Looney Tune inspired end of the road so that our minecart can go down there and it looks like it's traveling, but you know, it's really just going into nothing. Alright guys, now I do believe that as we go on to the next stage of this tour, it is all going to be rather new builds and a bit of a new terrain to be able to explore, so that those of you who aren't just new and just reliving a bit of the memory lane of these areas, you guys will also be in for a little bit of a surprise. Not that big of a surprise, no, I know what you're thinking, no, the rooms aren't decorated, but they're done, they're just not decorated. Sorry. Alright, let's go. As we head on down here and make our way up the stairwell leading up to the next layered platform, we are now in line with the center strip of the village, which used to be absolutely plain, very, very boring, and did not have either the house behind me here or the house in front of me here. And I did include a bit more of the baller, round-shaped sort of hanging thingy on the roofs that we did down there, because I actually really liked how that turned up, and I wish I'd done on a few more. Yeah, as you can see, the stables behind me has a bit more of an L flop. They've all got different ones, so it makes it unique to each house, but still, I prefer these ones for the next time round. But if we make our way just down a platform here and actually explore the house, you can see here that it's really nice and cozy. It would make a really nice sort of a 1 or 2 bedroomed house here for the villagers. It has that perfect look out over those crop field there. I know I've mentioned it a lot, I'm just really proud of it. I like how that looks. It's the smaller things, you know. We got maybe a little bit of an odd shaped windows over here. However though, they make perfect sense when you look at it from the outside. I don't know how or why, it just does. It's sort of, I guess it's math and how actually, you know, how many house blocks there are to have an even spot there. It does work, but you know, it just looks nice. And then we have another custom tree up here. I don't want to just forget about that. As when we lead on down to a little bit of a side path. And as you can see, this path here isn't as well protected as all of these ones down here, the nice rails. It's a bit more stepped upon, you know, a bit more older, and it leads us off to what I want to be able to write up a bit of a story about, a nice sort of, it's just like an elden tree or some sort. There's going to be some lore about this tree here, but it's got its own little pathway that can allow you to lead up and walk up to this area, and not sort of, you know, just be at one. Maybe this is an area where you just come and peacefully sit and think on thoughts, or, you know, there's going to be a lot of library and lore stuff here, so, you know, maybe this is a place where you just come and read through some of that, and it's a nice view over the world, and yeah, it just looks peaceful. So yeah, I think that's really nice. It's another little area here that I've sort of done as I didn't want to leave blank space, but I also think it looks really nice. There's a bit more different coloured flowers around here. There is a bit more of that life. We've got a few bees, but not too many, because they do send the lag out the world a little bit. Alright, let's head back on our path and go up and explore that other house. Now, continuing on up the road, we can see this tree that I didn't want to forget, leading up into another nice, not too large, but not too small sort of house here. This one, I think it might fit a few more of like the librarians who are actually going to be everyday working in the Grand Library. So we might have a few beds around here, bunk beds, bit of books, that sort of stuff. Can't wait for 1.20 when we can actually have chiseled bookshelves and we can actually put our books in the bookshelf. It's going to look really, really cool. I can't wait for it. But yeah, I think this is going to be a lovely little house for that. Again, these were the last two to have the kelp blocks, so it was such a relief to actually finish them off and get them all done. But yeah, we've included the flower beds, a little bit of the shutters over there, one sort of closing off the window, so you can sort of really picture it as an actual functioning thing. And yeah, guys, I think with that said, that has brought us up to date. We have gone over or walked back down memory lane of all of the builds that we've done here in Uruk. I'll get it right, yeah, Uruk, the Village of Lore. And we are now up to the last build. I say that like it's a small thing. No, this is a big build now. You see this whole space behind me? I have that all dedicated for this library. I want it to be nice and sort of a bit fancier, a little bit old, because, you know, this is sort of one of the first builds, because obviously it's going to be able to tell the story from the beginning, so it needs to be of around close to an era of the beginning. And yeah, so my thoughts is that the pathway here, as where we've got steps to lead up and continue it, I actually want this to start being the stairwell of our library and leading up into where it's all going to be function. Then we're going to go sort of across ways and sort of plan it out for this whole space over here. Trying not too much to go, you know, overboard with how much we're going to go down and really build up into the ground. But yeah, guys, this is it, the big build of the village. We're finally up to it, and I'm really keen for it. So before we start, I do need to go get a few supplies. I'm thinking dark oak stairs, as well as a bit of dark oak planking to have as the outskirt walking area of the build, and I'm wanting some stone and stone bricks so we can start up by just doing the outline. So what we're going to get done today is, because as anyone that might watch my videos knows, I have a problem with saying I'm just going to do this project and then I'll get it finished and then I'll put out the video. No, I'm sticking to a time frame, and my time frame is, well, I wanted to do two parts. I wanted to show off the village, get everyone up to date again, remembering how everything all looks and works. And now I want to plan out and get the skeleton of this build sort of roughly built up and try and start building the foundation of it so that we can build the building on top of it and have it built up nicely. So before we get too much further in, I gotta go collect up some supplies, and yeah, so let me just do like a screen wipey thing now, and then hopefully I'll be able to be like, alright, we've got our stuff, let's go. Let's see how good I can do. Alright guys, so I have now gone and collected up all the resources we will be needing to actually start up this build and, you know, get the library, get the foundation for our library to actually, you know, come to life, and we can really start to see the build and not just let it be a sort of a picture in my head. You know, you guys can actually physically see what I'm going on about. I've collected up quite a reasonable amount of stone bricks, as well as the dark oak, which I was mentioning I wanted to have as the planks around the outsiding sort of terrace decking area where we can walk around before going in. You know, use the dark oak as a bit more of a royaler, richer sort of wood as the stairwell leading up and everything. But I have, while I was collecting up some of those resources, I've done a bit of the editing of, you know, the whole tour that we've done of Uruk. Haha, I got the name right. I should get the name right, it's my own thing. Anyway, and I've come to notice that, you know, this episode is starting to get a little bit long, and I do believe that, you know, it stands pretty well on its own. It's just being a bit of a catch up, a little tour of the village before we start our large sort of build of the Grand Library. And, you know, with that sort of said, guys, I do think that, you know, instead of trying to start this build now and stretching out the video a little bit longer and taking a little bit longer for it to get out, we just call it a day. And, you know, I am as you can see, I've got the materials here ready to go, and I've got some time now to be recording. So the plan is, I think if we end here, and then I can pretty much start almost immediately recording the next episode. So there shouldn't be too long of a wait in between them. You know, that'll be a good idea. Maybe I can get both of these out before the end of the year. Who knows? But with that all said, guys, thank you very, very much for tuning in. I hope you guys have enjoyed the tour around the village, maybe a little trip down memory lane for some of you though, for those of you who have, been around for quite some time. And yeah, just a huge thank you to everyone, and until next time, bye!